What's up guys, Nolan here, and today we're updating our future PEW video for Escape from Tarkov. There's 3 tiers to this new list so that we can keep our expectations realistic here, with the first tier being a weapon that has been confirmed and has been seen as a work in progress in some way. Second tier being either confirmed verbally by someone at BSG or seen somewhere to reasonably assume that it will be coming to the game. Third tier is simply guns that make sense to be in the game based off of what Nikita has said in the past or because it was in Contract Wars, their previous title. Now of course, remember this being early access and it being BSG, everything is subject to change, so stay tuned throughout the development to learn more about your most or least anticipated feature. Anything mentioned in this video is at the very least likely to be added at some point in the future unless I very specifically say otherwise. If I don't give a date for something, then there isn't a public one available to my knowledge. First, I'll get the crazy stuff out of the way. Explosives and heavy weapons are coming to Escape from Tarkov. It's been more than confirmed numerous times by Nikita himself. There's lots of people that love commenting that this game will die or that they'll stop playing once underbarrel grenade launchers or mines are added to Escape from Tarkov, and all I can say to those people is I hope you enjoy your stay because they are inevitable. Underbarrel weapons like grenade launchers and even shotguns are coming to the game at some point. We have no date, but we have direct confirmation from BSG, lots of work in progress shots, and the fact that it just makes sense for them to be here. If I had to guess, our first underbarrel grenade launcher will come by the way of the GL40 becoming an attachment for the SCAR. I don't think it will be at the launch of the SCAR, but at some point in the future, I think BSG will make that change, as once the SCAR is in the game, it is going to be the easiest transition. After underbarrel launchers and weapons, we also have more standalone launchers, including the RPG, both the 7 and the 26, the MGL, the RG6, and the AT4, all with either tier 1 or 2 confirmations. The China Lake, which is basically a pump action shotgun but grenades, is a tier 3. For explosives, we have various landmines and booby traps with tier 1 and 2 confirmations, but no dates associated with them. Apart from tripwires, there will be manual triggers for these explosives. They will of course be very loud and obvious when they go off. They will also of course take time to set up. It's not going to be as easy as walking through a doorway and dropping a claymore. Remember, this is Tarkov. These things will be tricky to use and will need proper tools and experience to be utilized correctly. These days, BSG's new motto is as realistic as playable, not possible. So expect there will be proper deterrence from finding all of the extracts filled with mines. Although I'll be honest, I bet it'll take a bit of back and forth to get this right once the day actually comes. More heavy weapons are confirmed, like the mortar, 50 cal machine guns, Dishkas, SPGs, and more, all with direct confirmations. The state of Tarkov in lore and with how important they were in the raid series, it's reasonable to believe that heavy weapons will become very common in Escape from Tarkov. Although there's no dates associated with this, Nikita has already confirmed that every map will be getting static heavy weapons eventually. The most recent example being the customs expansion with its addition of these weapons on both new and old locations. As to the game dying once these come in, people have been saying that literally for years about every major feature. They can't make everyone happy, but BSG are getting pretty good at making reasonable changes to keep the community content while still sticking to the plan even in these active development stages, so we'll see what happens. Now for primary weapons, we have the SCAR 17 as a tier 1 and expected with patch 12.11 if not 12.10, AK-308 as a tier 1, no date, AK-12 is tier 1, no date, AK-19 and 15 are both tier 2, the CMMG Mutant, or at least something that looks a lot like it, is tier 1, no date, the HK-G28 is tier 1, no date, and I don't know if this is the HK-417 that BSG were thinking of, but if it's not, then the HK-417 is tier 2, the RPD is tier 1, no date, but has been a long time coming, just like the SCAR, the Benelli M4 semi-auto shotgun is tier 2, the MTS-225, aka the revolver shotgun, is tier 1, no date, but a long time coming, the MP-155 shotgun is tier 1, and a double barrel shotgun of some kind is also tier 1. While we're on the subject, there's probably going to be a handful of other double or single barrel shotguns as well as rifles under the civilian/hunting category for the scabs. The PP-2000 submachine gun is tier 2, the FAMAS is tier 2, although I don't know whether it's going to be like the new one or the old one, we'll have to wait and see. The Bren line of rifles are tier 2. The Uzi is actually tier 3 because the mini Uzi is in Contract Wars, so we're assuming that's going to be coming to Escape from Tarkov. However, I am not sure about the actual full-size Uzi, but it's still good enough to put in tier 3, so tier 3. Now that we've seen shots from Battlestate Games of the SCAR H, which is the 308 version of the SCAR, I'm wondering what's going on with the 5.56 version of the SCAR, so I'm going to put the 5.56 version of the SCAR specifically in tier 3 until we hear more. Then we have the Battlestate Battle Arms tanker or some variation of it. Thanks to Can Do Crayon in the comments of my last video for finding this. There's no date for this, but there is something interesting that we'll get back to in a minute, as it seems like there is just a bunch of different guns that are coming from this one set of receivers from Battle Arms. The Steyr AUG is tier 2, specifically from Nikita himself. The SVT in 762x54R is tier 2. The M16A4 is tier 2. The KAC PDW is tier 1.5-ish, as the sound files have been found specifically designated in the game, but they've been there for years, so it could just be placeholder for something else, we don't know. Either way, BSG have it as planned. The OTS-14 Groza is tier 2. The G36C and K variants are tier 2, along with the G3. The multiple variants of calibers for these rifles are also planned as well. Speaking of multiple calibers, the ACR is tier 2 in 5.56, 7.62, 300 Blackout, 6.8, and even 450, but no date. The PP-19 Bison is tier 2. The Scorpion VZ61 is tier 2. The AEK rifle and submachine gun series is tier 2. Multiple sniper and marksman rifles like the DSR and Osiris SVLK14S are tier 2. There's also a bunch of different sniper calibers like 408 Shytac, 338 Lapua, 308 Winchester, and 300 Winchester Magnum rifles coming as well. I know that these rifles can also use some of those calibers, so I don't know if it's just going to be these rifles or if there's going to be a bunch of variants. I just know that specifically these rifles are coming, and also these calibers are planned on coming as well. The PKP Pechneg and the PKM are tier 2. The SAW is tier 2, and the MG5 in some variant or caliber heavier than 5.56 is tier 2. Hopefully it's 308 or something, because God help us if they make it 338 Lapua or Norma. If you think that sounds impossible, check out the SIG MG 338, which, to be clear, that SIG MG is not spoken about in Tarkov development at all and has no current plan to be added, but apparently the MG5 can do something similar, so that would be absolutely nuts. For secondary weapons, we have the USP-45 at tier 1, but no date. The Desert Eagle at tier 2. The PL-15 pistol from Kalashnikov in tier 1, and this is supposed to be coming with 12.10. The Chiappa Rhino in at least 357 Magnum, but possibly 9mm and more, is long awaited and tier 1, but no date. The Smith & Wesson semi-auto line of pistols are tier 2. The CZ line of pistols are tier 2. The Jericho is tier 2, and any variation of the PM that you can possibly think of is tier 3. Speaking of tier 3, I wanted to keep these separate because it's a bit tricky. For those who don't know, BSG are absolute gun nuts. You'll find them on the range every weekend, and they are constantly in the know with the latest industry stuff, including even unreleased products. They've also used the excuse that a weapon was in Contract Wars, so it should be in Tarkov. If that's the case, then we can add every single weapon from Contract Wars to that list. This includes the AWM, Benelli M3, CZ Scorpion, Desert Tech SRS and MDRC, the Spaz 12 shotgun, the Tavor TAR 21 and X95, the HK 243, the Magpul PDR, the Keltec KSG shotgun, the SAW again, Ruger Mini 14, QBU, and SVU rifles. For secondaries in Contract Wars, we also have the Beretta 92, Colt Python, FN pistol series, Mini Uzi, OTS 33, Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum, Sphinx 3000, and the Taurus Raging Judge in multiple calibers like 410 gauge, which are shot shells, and the 45 long. It sounds like the plan is to get those in Escape from Tarkov because those are the same universe, so they really should be in Escape from Tarkov as well. There's lots of times when BSG go to the range or to a gun show and take pictures of guns that they then post on social media. This, in my mind, is not any kind of confirmation whatsoever that that weapon is coming to Tarkov. Now, somewhere in the comments of these pictures, Nikita or someone from BSG might have confirmed it's planned and I missed it, which if that is the case and you have proof, please let me know in the comments and I'll amend this. And the weapons that fit this criteria include the AN-94, the AM-17, the Kalashnikov SR-1, 50 cal snipers like the Barrett and the KSVK on that list. Sure, it's reasonable that they might be planning to add those, but they might just like them and took a picture, so we needed to hear otherwise before assuming. Now, there is one weird last piece of tier 3 because it's actually up to you guys to decide based on what weapon you are thinking of. Because based on what Nikita has said many times in the past, if a weapon makes sense to be in a war zone or a Russian civilian population these days, it is likely planned for the game. And if you need another hint, they want a fornicating ton of guns in Escape from Tarkov. And on top of all of this, I'd also like to add a sub tier, and this is where variants come in. If the weapon you have in mind is essentially made by swapping out a receiver, trigger, or barrel on a weapon that we already have, then consider that tier 2. We all know EFT as one of, if not the most gun nutty games out there, and they plan on making it even nuttier with weapon internals. There's no date on this yet, but my theory is that BSG will have this coming soon, where the only thing that makes a weapon that weapon is the lower receiver, and that's it. This kind of already exists in the game, except you still have the trigger group in the lower receiver, and I think BSG are moving to change that up. We're seeing loads of Geisley, F1, and more general performance aftermarket parts coming to the game. Now, since we are seeing so many different possibilities with this new Battle Arms receiver, I think we're creeping up on the day where we have full autonomy to make a weapon do whatever we want in game with full customization, which, by the way, is and always has been planned for the game. That is all for now, guys. I'll redo this video again probably about a year from now unless something huge happens, but anytime they leak or confirm something, you'll find it on my news playlist here on the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything Tarkov, check out that news playlist here. If you like more games than just Tarkov, check out my second channel. If you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you at least learned something, and I also hope you have a nice day. See you guys.